I had been craving biryani for the past week, so I finally decided to make some. I start by cutting my potatoes into large chunks and soaking them in cold water with some salt and red food color. You absolutely can skip the food color, but I feel like it makes the biryani really pretty. Then I'll set these aside for later. In a pot, I'll add about half a cup of oil and let that heat up on medium heat. In the meantime, I'm going to slice up a yellow onion and then add that to the pot once it's hot. I'm going to let that fry until it's golden in color. Once it's golden, we're going to add our boneless chicken to the pot, along with some garlic paste, and we'll let that cook until all the color of the chicken changes. Next, I'll add in ginger paste and any biryani masala. In this, I use Sindhi Biryani Masala, but I highly recommend the one from National as well. Once everything's well combined, I'll add in some desi yogurt and then mix everything until the gravy is uniform in color. I'll let that continue to cook until the water from the yogurt reduces a little. Then I'm going to add in enough water to cover all the meat and potatoes, which I also add in, and then cover the pot and let that cook on medium-high heat. After about 7 minutes, I remove the lid and the chicken is fully cooked at this point, but the potatoes won't be. So I remove the chicken into a bowl to prevent it from overcooking, and then put the lid back on onto the pot to continue to let the potatoes cook. While the potatoes are going, I get started on boiling my rice. In a separate pot, I'm going to fill it with water and set it on high heat and add some salt. I'm also going to add cloves, star of anise, a little cinnamon, and a small bay leaf and stir that all together. While I wait for that to come to a rolling boil, I'll check on the potatoes, which at this point should be cooked. And by cooked, I mean that it should be breakable with your fingers, but not mushy or falling apart without pressure. I uncover my pot and let the extra water and the masala cook off. I'll also adjust the salt and spices if I need to. For more spice and flavor, I add maybe 20 grams more of the masala packet. Once I'm happy with the flavor, I add back my meat and make sure everything is mixed well together and then turn off the heat. Our water for the rice should be ready now, so I add in the pre-soaked rice and let that cook for about 7 minutes or until the rice is about 2/3 cooked. Right before the rice is ready to be removed, I'll add a touch of youre essence to the rice, which gives the rice a beautiful fragrance. I mix it in thoroughly and then strain my rice. Going back to the masala mix, I'll sprinkle it with some cilantro and dried mint. I usually layer some sliced tomato as well, but I didn't have any on hand. I'll pour my rice evenly over top the masala and add some red and yellow food coloring. Again, this isn't a necessary step if you're in a pinch, but it makes the dish feel so much fancier. I pour a 1/4 cup of milk around the edges of the rice and then try to distribute the remainder to the rest of the rice. Then I put a pan on the burner and then my pot on top of that to keep the masala from burning, and place some foil over top the pot before I put the lid on and turn my burner on to high heat. I'll know the biryani is done cooking when I hear a slight hissing, and I'll also be able to see the foil rippling as the steam tries to escape the pot. I turn off the burner and wait a minimum of 20 minutes before I open up the pot. After I let the rice rest, I can fluff it and it's ready to be served with some yogurt.